Hello, I am Renee Langvar, and I am the Clay Center Area Chamber of Commerce Director, and I am here today with two of my friends, Heath Craig and Monty Green. It's good to see you guys. Merry Christmas. We're here today to talk about an exciting project that we have been working on for honestly over a year. It's kind of been a progress, and things have been moving in Clay Center behind the scenes. Over a year ago, if you remember, we had K-State students come to our community and give us ideas for how to improve the downtown. And last year at the Chamber annual meeting, we presented the program to the business community and solicited people to help with this project. And so I, of course, am one of the people that is on this committee, and my two friends here joined the committee, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and kind of like give just a few seconds of background what you do here in Clay Center, and then we'll talk about the program, what we're working on.
Okay.
Monty?
Yeah, I'm Monty Green, and my wife and I both grew up here in Clay Center, and we have 3 daughters that live here, and we just love the community. And yeah, we just can't imagine living in any other place.
I
so
agree.
we just want to make this a better place.
I'm Heath Craig, and I also graduated from Clay Center, and my wife and I live in the community, and we have 4 children, and we just really enjoy serving in the community and being part of lots of different activities and groups, and we just felt like this would be a good way for our family to give back to the community and just see good things happen for our community.
I think it's important to note that a lot of the people, most of the people, well, all of the people on the committee are younger families, people that have younger children who are truly invested in the community. I think that's important just because I want my kids to want to come back here, and I know that you guys both feel the same way, and that's part of the reason of our why we're doing this, is because we want this community to be the best that it can be. So one of you has the list of all of the other committee members. Let's tell everybody who the other committee members are.
So it's Jeremy and Nicole Glavin, and Jacob Lohrmeyer, who is our chair, Josh Peterson, George Murchison, Lori Huber, and I think that's it.
I think that's it. And they're all people that are invested in the community. So our committee is called Clay Center Action Now, and we voted on that and decided that it embodied what exactly it was that we were doing. And this committee specifically was born out of the annual meeting because the Flint Hills Regional Council, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Flint Hills Regional Council came to Lori and gave us this proposition that if we were able to get a group of people together, 6 to 8 to 10 people that would be willing to be committed to working on a committee for 2 years, that they would put us in touch with people that could help us move the projects along. So that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
And we all came together and formed this committee, and we meet once a month, and then on a quarterly basis we meet with other communities that are similar to us, and we go to Manhattan, and which is kind of like a central location, and you both have been to some of the workshops. Why don't we tell the viewers a little bit about kind of like what the workshops have provided for us, and the things that we've grown from by going to the workshops.
Okay. So, for example, at the last workshop that we were out at the Discovery Center in Manhattan, they have different speakers come in and we have various sessions, but one of them is they brought in a guy from Emporia and talked about what all Emporia has done in the last few years, as far as like putting $100 million that they've reinvested into their downtown and doing different things. So that was an example of a community that's that has been doing something. and then they just talk about different programs that are available. So at this upcoming one, they're going to have somebody there from the Kansas Historical Society to talk about historic tax credits. It's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another thing I really enjoy about the workshops is the fact that the other two communities are Council Grove and Onega, and so it kind of gives us a kind of an understanding of, we're not the only community that maybe has some issues that we do and some issues that we face, but it's really good to bounce ideas off of communities that are similar in size and also hear maybe what they've tried in the past and just kind of connect with them as well. Also, they do have very qualified speakers that come in and talk about the different problems, and at some of the earlier workshops we will identify problems, and then then they will look for speakers that help address those problems. So they're really active in trying to help us work towards getting our problem solved.
Okay, so we're going to take a little break here in a second, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the few issues that have been identified in Clay Center and how we're working to resolve them.
At Eagle Communications, we're proud to provide the communication services you need to get the most from today's technology. Our employee owners make it happen. We're part of your community, and we take pride in delivering excellent customer service. If you ever have a question, give us a call. We're here to help. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Hello, this is Renee again, and I'm joined by Heath and Monty, and we're talking about the Clay Center Action Now Network. We're not exactly sure if it's now or network, but it might be now. So one of the things that also stemmed from the K-State Urban Designs concept class was that our community, Clay Center, had the opportunity to do a First Impressions program through the K-State Research and Extension Council. And our community that we partnered with was Beloit. And that report was really eye-opening. Heath, do you want to share a few of the things that they kind of isolated for Clay Center?
Sure. The Beloit community had different representatives come, and they would come at various times of the day and maybe sometimes on the weekend to really get a good overview of our community. And I think it was revealing that some of the things that they wrote down a lot of positive things as well, and as well as some things maybe that they thought that our community could improve upon. And a few of those were signage, just the ways to navigate around our community as someone coming in that doesn't know where everything is located. And there was some aesthetic things that they brought up as far as just beautification of our entrances or our gateways into Clay Center, and they were impressed with our schools. On a positive note, they were impressed with how full our downtown was during the week. The people that came during the week mentioned that. So there was a lot of positives, but it was eye-opening to hear somebody from a different community come in with fresh eyes and share, maybe some of the things that we can improve upon, especially those things that would just take some, elbow grease, if you will, maybe not be real expensive, and but then there's some other things that may be more costly or more work.
So two of the terms that we saw a lot in that report was wayfinding and gateway, and to some people they might not quite know what those two terms are. Monty, do you want to talk a little bit about what wayfinding is, and then gateway also?
Okay. So, and this is interesting if we take what the K-State students did in their designs and overlay it with the First Impressions. It made me think of the K-State students when they first started describing their designs. There were three components to it. One is making people aware of Clay Center, and that's kind of the branding component of it. and then the wayfinding, so where do you go when you get here?
Correct.
And so that's the signage that says, shows where downtown is, or the zoo, or the schools. And so it's where do you go when you get here? And then the streetscaping is basically when you are downtown or wherever, but for us it's primarily downtown, how do you feel? And it's the aesthetics and having a consistent theme, that sort of it, part of it. And so it's so those three components, that it's Clay Center's here, and once you're here, where do you go, and then how do we make people feel when they're
here?
Yeah.
So if people weren't aware of, I guess, kind of how the concept was born, initially the whole entire project, I believe, started because we wanted to figure out a way to get people to come downtown. Now, I'm not from Clay Center, you guys are, but it's been told to me numerous times that Highway 15 was essentially, which is our main road down into the downtown, was essentially the back door to Clay Center. And that really explains a lot as far as the aesthetics, because you drive on the backside of the courthouse, for example, which a lot of people, you know, to some people who aren't aware of Clay Center, they might just see the back of the courthouse and keep on driving and not even go one block in to see how fantastic our downtown truly is. And then the gateways, there's really nothing that really welcomes people into Clay Center. And I agree so much with the aesthetics as far as when we get people here, we want them to stay, either for the day or a week or a month, or to decide to move here. And so the overall goal is to get people here, have them love it when they're here, and want to stay or come back as frequently as they can, for sure. So, so all of those projects that the Urban Designs Concepts and the First Impressions Committee, that really showcased us exactly what we needed to focus on and work on first. And so in a minute we'll come back and we'll talk about what we are doing to fix those exact issues.
Around here, we believe in local values like hard work, family time, or a fair price on reliable internet from a local company. That's why Eagle Communications delivers great local values, like a range of internet options to fit your family's needs. Fast and consistent enough to power everyone's devices at once. All at reasonable prices we're proud to offer our friends and neighbors. Ready for better internet? Give us a call or visit eaglecom.net and discover our local values today.
Welcome back. I am here again with Heath and Monty, and we are going to finish up talking about where we are at with this project. So we have been meeting every month. We've been to a couple workshops with the Flint Hills Regional Council, and we have isolated the starting projects that we are going to be moving forward on, and we have we're ready to move forward. So Heath, why don't you tell everyone what we have done, and then Monty, I'll have you share what we need. How about that?
Well, in going through all the different workshops and different things, we've identified that we would like to have an overall plan or vision for what our group can bring back and get started on doing. And the first phase of that is just having a overall plan or vision that meets some of those requirements that we visited with about earlier, about having a consistent theme and a time concept or a scope in timing, so that we know how we can approach doing some of these projects. And so we've contacted a landscape architect out of Kansas City that has done other projects, been very credible, has done some of the design around the Discovery Center in Manhattan, and they would like to help us by giving us an overall plan of the areas that we have identified, and in doing so, the quote that they have given us is going to be matched by the Flint Hills Region Council. Has a funding group called the Minnesota Housing Project, and they have a grant available for $10,000, and they will match dollar for dollar up to $10,000, and that would go a long ways. And it is kind of earmarked specifically for design and planning. So that's one of the things that our group is really working towards right now, to get that so that we can bring back a plan and a vision for the community to get involved in.
And that plan and vision is so important. That's how we get other people to get on board with this. Once, not everybody can envision what something is going to look like without actually seeing a plan. And so that money is going to be exceptionally well spent. Once we know where we're going, it'll be a lot easier to get there. So, Monty, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of our plan to raise those funds and what we need from the community to help us reach that goal?
Okay. So the quote that we got from the architect was $24,000. About half of it for the branding and wayfinding, and then the other half for the streetscaping. And so to get the full $24,000, if we take advantage of this matching $10,000 matching grant from the Minnesota Housing Partnership, we need to have $10,000 in pledges plus another $4,000 to be able to get the full $24,000. And so we plan to submit the grant at the end of January, and so at that time all we need are pledges. We don't need to have $10,000 in hand to submit the grant to try to get the $10,000 match. We just need $10,000 in pledges. Mm-hmm. So during the month of January, we're going to be asking local businesses and others and individuals for pledges. And so primarily it'll be at the Chamber annual dinner. Mm-hmm. What date is that?
That's Monday, January 15th.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And see what we can do there, and then hit up some other organizations to fill in the gap. Yes. If we can't quite get it.
So to those people that maybe don't understand the importance of this architecture's work, why we have to spend this money, which to some might seem like a lot of money, and yes, it is a lot of money. In the scope of some of the projects, this really isn't that much. But I want to caution people to understand, to not get worried about, well, how are we going to actually complete the projects? One of the fantastic things about being in this specific program and being connected to the Flint Hills Regional Council is that they put us in contact with people who will help spur the project along and help fund different sources, and put us in connection with people that will help line everything up. So it's so important for this first step to be taken, and it's important for us to get this architecture's work. Do you guys have what was your first impression as far as the validity to doing the architecture, to having this architecture do the work for us?
To me, it's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely imperative. And if you, the projects that we've done over the last few years, whether it's the swimming pool, the zoo, the hospital, they started with architecture
That's
plans.
Right.
They started with blueprints.
Yes.
And I see this as a blueprint that we need to have.
It's laying the foundation for the whole project.
And if we're going to do a variety of projects and we want some coordination, some consistency, we need this this blueprint. And it also gives people a vision that this is what we can be. We've got a good thing here, but we can be better.
Yeah, we really can. There's always, I myself, I own Java Junkies, and I know a couple years ago I went and visited a few communities and went to the Destination Business Boot Camp, which we've talked about before on this program, and I came back to my store and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, it looks terrible. And so it doesn't matter how great you think it is, it can always be better. And I think that's one of the things that I especially love about this committee is that we're not here to pick ourselves apart. We're just here to make this community better for us and everybody that comes into it. So do you guys have anything else you want to share about?
Well, I think the important thing about having a plan or design is so that the people in the community and maybe whatever organizations they're a part of, they can get momentum and see how they can also serve the community or get their group involved in different ways. And so it's exciting to see a small community work together and get momentum going, and then just see the community benefit from that service, and our families really enjoy and improve our quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
And Renee was joking earlier about our group. The acronym is CCAN, C-C-A-N, and when we debated about the group name, it was Clay Center Action Now or Network. And the thing about now is this sense of urgency that we can't just keep kicking the can down the road, and
mm-hmm.
we need to take action now. But on the other hand, Network, we see this as it's going to be a network. Mm-hmm. And it's not just our committee that's going to be doing these projects. Right now, we're trying to put the plan together, and then hopefully we form a network where other people take on particular projects to be able to get a lot more done.
Yep, I agree. Network. So maybe we should call it Clay Center Action Now Network. We can have both in there. So thanks guys for coming in and talking with me about this. I'm proud to be on the committee with you both. So we appreciate you watching and hope you have a happy new year.